If you came across this video today, most probably you've been through a spiritual awakening and it was not how you've expected it to be. Nobody tells you that after awakening, you might feel worse, tired, unmotivated, lost. Not because you did something wrong, but you're no longer wired for the life you had before. So if you've been feeling tired, if you've been feeling unmotivated, if you've been feeling like your life has lost purpose, drive, and meaning, you came to the right place, because I want to explain to you today that what you're going through is actually a very natural phase of a spiritual awakening. There are different stages, and I want to take you through different stages. And by how you feel, by knowing how you feel, you can find a proof of where you may be at this point of your life, which can really empower you rather than make you feel lost. So stay tuned for everything we will talk today about, because when I've been through my spiritual awakening, I've started waking up in 2017, and in 2018 I've started my dream career, I would say. I became an artist. I've started waking up, and suddenly I've started seeing visions in my mind's eye, and I felt this deep drive that I want to become an artist, and I've started doing that. Every time I finished a painting, stories started coming through me. Like I could just write long stories related to each painting, and that inspired me to start a YouTube channel. And here we are today, after 8 years of this journey. I've learned many things about these processes, how sometimes we are like high on life, like we call it spiritual high. Then we go through processes of darkness where we feel lost, and it feels like we are downgrading or making steps backward. And then we are in times when it feels like we're mastering things, and we are becoming really good at something, and it feels like we're thriving. And all of this has its own time, its own chapter on our journey. And if we understand what is happening, we can feel more empowered by it, and therefore easily notice how to get through it instead of blocking ourselves as we're walking this path. So if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling unmotivated, or the lack of drive, or even tired, it's not that there's something wrong with you. It's because you're no longer wired for the life you had before. Your old drive disappears, your old goals feel empty, and the energy that used to push you forward is gone. It's not a breakdown, it's a recalibration, it's a redirection. I've been through this phase when I quitted my job, and I've started reading so many of these spiritual books. And suddenly everything I've been doing, like working out, I had different hobbies, all these desires to become an entrepreneur and to become abundant financially, everything became empty. And I thought, what is really going on? And I've noticed, not that I don't want that, I just want to experience a fulfilling life through which I could also create abundance and anything that I felt driven to experience. So the meaning in my life started changing. The way I see things started changing. And maybe you're going through this as well right now, noticing that you would just quit everything you were doing, but you can't because of certain responsibilities. You can't just quit your job, or you can't just end your business. But at the same time, you want to. So you may feel confused, and that may also exhaust you quite a lot. This video will help you to understand what to do in these situations. But firstly, let's talk about spiritual awakening. Because many times we think it's just something loving and we step into the light and suddenly we become maybe enlightened or more spiritual. But actually, it's about rewiring. When we go through awakening, it shakes the foundation of our identity. It dissolves illusions we didn't even know we were living. It burns down the old, so something more real, something more authentic can come through. And between these phases, when the old is falling apart and we're still finding our way, there's divide, and there's actually called this stage of awakening that is divide, that I will talk later. That's where many people feel stuck, tired, unmotivated, isolated, and confused. But what is really happening is that when you awaken, you begin seeing through the ego. But the ego was what used to drive your ambition, your hard work, your plans. So when the old identity fades, you feel empty, not because your light is gone, but because your light is integrating, which means enlightening your darkness, which means acknowledging your fears, becoming aware of your patterns that were running your life. Like if you reflect on maybe 5 years ago, you may notice that today that most of the things you've been doing 5 years ago was out of unconscious habits, out of unconscious patterns. Now, when you see these patterns and mechanisms, you may feel a bit confused because you may notice what was your work and what was actually the unconscious work. Well, light integration means that you start acknowledging the patterns, so then you can see what to change. So I want to take you through the stages of awakening, just to notice where you are. The first stage is called the triggering. Something cracks open your perception. It could be a loss, a book, a psychedelic, a burnout, or a moment of stillness. You suddenly see through the illusion and you can't unsee it. Maybe there's some excitement, there's wonder, there's adventure, and this is where we actually taste the truth. Like, that's what happened to me when I started reading these spiritual books, and it all became exciting, and I've gained so much of new knowledge and information, and I just wanted to explore all of that and embody all of that, and it became fun and interesting. And it got me to the second stage of awakening, which is the high, when we get high on spirituality. You feel connected to everything. Synchronicities start happening. You start noticing first manifestations. You're like, oh, the law of attraction truly works. You feel love for people you used to judge. You wake up energized, purposeful, expanded. You know, when I've started painting, I've been waking up inspired every single day. I just felt motivated, driven, let's do it. And this is where most people think they will stay there forever. But soon we recognize it's not just about expansion, it's also about purification. So we can let go of the old. We don't just, keep tapping into more passion and keep expanding more and more and more. It's also about leaving something behind. And sometimes for that we need the purge. We need great cleansing, like a detox. And that's what the third stage of spiritual awakening is, and we can't skip it. It's the stage where the old patterns rise to the surface, traumas you forgot, emotions you suppressed. Your nervous system starts clearing decades of stored survival energy. You feel exhausted, overwhelmed, maybe even depressed. In this stage, you need to constantly keep reminding yourself that you're not broken, you're just detoxing. So you firstly needed to experience high, the spiritual high. So you also started to feel safe. You started to know there's more to life. You get the taste of the truth, as I said before, and that's when your body will start releasing the past. In the purge stage, your body also starts changing quite a lot. Maybe your face may change, your body may change. You may release a lot of water from the skin of your body. Sometimes your eye color may become more vivid because you kind of integrate more of yourself into your body. So many times your body can change in this purge stage. And it leads us into the fourth stage of awakening, which is divide, which is even maybe darker stage. This is where tiredness and lack of motivation really show up. You're between worlds. The old you is gone. The new you hasn't landed yet. You don't know what to do, and it may feel like you don't want to do anything. Actually, the world right now, so many people who've been waking up are somewhere between the purge and divide right now. This is the dark night of the soul, not because it's, maybe something evil here. It's because it's empty. You face with your own emptiness, and emptiness is not a bad thing. Emptiness is where you get in touch with your truth. So one way to practice this is to just become aware of the emptiness, like the empty space, the darkness of space. Sometimes people are afraid of it, but that's why they've been running away from it. But the truth is, in the emptiness, we notice life. We notice the presence of the divine. We notice the presence of inspiration and guidance. That's why they say the truth will set you free. And in order to get in touch with the truth, you need to stop distracting yourself. And ego wants to live in our five senses. It wants to be constantly stimulated. And the best way to overcome this is to practice connecting with your own emptiness without any expectation, any idea of how it should be. If emptiness is empty, let it be empty. Don't expect anything, because at some point it may surprise you. This is the stage of divide. People have so many expectations due to spirituality, or they want mystical experiences, or they want it to be a certain way, or they want to meet an angel there, or some kind of a being of light, or whatever. Expect nothing, and you can be open for everything. Don't even expect how long this phase should be, as long as you need it. As long as you need it to detach from some kind of expectations. And then it leads us to the fifth stage, that is called the rebuild. Slowly you start to feel a new sense of self forming out of emptiness. Maybe you are noticing you're becoming more quiet, more clear, less reactive, more guided. Easily you find gratitude. Easily you cultivate peace. Easily you cultivate discipline that is making you more united or just grounded in you. You no longer chase life, you listen to life. Action returns, but this time from alignment, not ego. So in the stage 5, the rebuild, we start to build a new self. We start to express what comes from this inner emptiness rather than what was programmed into us through conditioning, social conditioning, through our childhood and emotional wounds. And this is a very constructive phase, I would say, because, well, that's where we start building our new lives. Here I want to mention that we may, go through these stages over and over again because life is cyclical. So you may go through all these stages and then return to the first one. And every time you're leveling up. So every time you will be on maybe uncovering new layers and discovering new depths and noticing more quietness and emptiness, and then rebuilding yourself. It's a constant rebuilding process. The last stage is integration. You stop trying to be spiritual. You just are you. Your life becomes the practice. Your presence becomes your gift. Your human or humanity becomes natural. So you recognize you're human, which means you are messy. You're also grounded, but you're also divine. So whatever you are is divine. And this is the real embodiment. Rather than some programmed you, you become natural you. Rather than doing what they said you should do, you start doing what your inner self says you to do. That's then the source of all the abundance and joy and purpose. It comes from within. Not what people say to you. You, your inner you, starts giving you commands. And however you choose to call that inner you, just pay attention to it and trust it. So even spirituality can be its own matrix. When we think like, I need to smile to be spiritual. I need to be positive to be spiritual. I need to dress this way to be spiritual. I need to eat this food to be spiritual. All these different ideas may come to us when we go through these different stages, until at some point we find our own unique spirituality, which has maybe nothing to do with what we've read or what we've heard, because your nature is unique nature. And more you become natural, more you become you, more you actually become spiritual. So what can you actually do if you're going through all of this? So you don't escape any of the phase, but honor it and move through it naturally. Firstly, give yourself permission to rest deeply. Give yourself permission to rest deeply, especially when you feel tired. Because spiritual fatigue isn't laziness, it's cellular reprocessing. You're digesting energetic lifetime, so drop the guilt, stop forcing output, let stillness do its work. Sleep more, breathe deeper. Rest is a spiritual practice, my friend. Dalai Lama said, sleep is the greatest meditation. Then the second thing to do is to anchor into simplicity. Complexity exhausts the awakening mind. So simplify your life, clear clutter, say no more often, do fewer things with more presence. Your nervous system will thank you. And in that simplicity, energy begins to return. The third thing you can do is to reconnect to the body. Spiritual awakening can make you feel disembodied, so ground back into the body. Walk barefoot, stretch gently, do some yoga, start working out again, but maybe just more gently, and listen to your body. Eat whole foods slowly. Breathe into your belly. That is powerful. Your body isn't separate from your awakening. It's the home your soul chose. Treat it with reverence, my friend. And then stop chasing the spiritual high. The early expansion you felt, it was real, but it was just a glimpse. It wasn't destined to just stay like that. Mature awakening isn't always blissful and beautiful and loving. It needs to be stable, quiet, and it's rooted. Stop trying to get back to the high. The depth you seek is in the low. The fifth thing you can do is create one daily practice of presence. It doesn't have to be big, just one act each day where you come fully into the now. One conscious breath, one honest journal entry where you're honest with yourself, and maybe one moment of silence, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, just sitting in silence, and that's enough. Presence compounds. When you're present with yourself, this energy will compound inside of you, and eventually it will become your new nature. And slowly, your energy recalibrates to truth. The sixth thing you can do is to trust the process. Even when you feel nothing, you might not feel motivated, you may not feel connected, but that's okay. Trust isn't a feeling, it's a choice. And the more you choose trust over doubt, the more you align with the deeper current that is guiding you at this point. That current knows where it's taking you. So if you're in the void right now, if your light feels dim, if you miss the magic you once felt, just once again I want to say to you that you are not lost. You are deepening yourself. You are expanding your awareness. It's not the end of awakening that sometimes you may fear. It's the descent into your roots. So stop comparing yourself with how maybe more awakened you were or how more high you were. Stop rushing and start listening. It's all about listening and awareness. Your energy will return. Your purpose will clarify. Your joy will stabilize. Not because you forced it, but because you honored the process. This is what it means to awaken. Not to float, but to feel. Not to ascend, but to embody. And you right now are doing it more than you know. So I hope you found great value today, and I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting, one of my paintings. To anyone who would like to get a print of it, to put it somewhere where it can symbolize this process of today, you can find prints on our store AttractPassion.com or the link in the description of this video. So you can, with that, support this mission and also support your journey with something that will support you. So go and check it out, which one resonates with you. Big thanks to all of you. And also join us on our Patreon community for more exclusive content. Until next time, one love.